High Representative Kaja Kallas is in West Africa seeking to deepen ties with Nigeria and Ghana. The EU unveiled new investment and cooperation deals with Nigeria while also stepping up security support for Ghana. For more, our Chief Africa correspondent Jennifer Zabasajja joins us from Johannesburg. Jen, walk us through what's been announced.
Yeah, Jumana, this was really an effort by the EU to deepen political, economic, and security ties with the region, as you were just mentioning there. So what we saw, if we just start with Ghana, we did see the EU actually effectively signing the first African country to a formal defense and intelligence sharing agreement. This is significant because this will entail counter-terrorism surveillance support and also crisis response. This is, of course, coming as we do see jihadist violence spreading across the Sahel. You mentioned in the intro, of course, some of the other investment pledges that we got from the EU and from Kallas's trip to Nigeria in particular. She announced a 290 million euro package for projects that include digital infrastructure, health manufacturing, agriculture, and migration management. So really, all in all, what we did see from this trip and what we heard from Kallas throughout the past few days is that it seems like this is a bit of a shift for the EU into a bit more of a strategic focus into security and also investment-driven partnerships with some of the West African states and those along the Gulf of Guinea.
What is driving this renewed push by the EU in West Africa, Jen?
I think really, Jumana, we have to look at this in a few different parts. I mentioned the fact that this is really a three-fer if we take a look at the investments and the announcements that were made over the past few days. Economic, political, and security. Over the past few years, we have continued to see security be threatened in what have been traditionally stable countries along the Gulf of Guinea. So part of this, if you look at it from the EU perspective, they see this as a way to not only protect some of the stability and the stabilization efforts of some of these African countries, but we also heard how this could potentially impact migration into Europe more broadly. If we take a look at it from the economic perspective, some of the Nigeria announcements around investment partnerships could be opportunities for European companies to invest in some of the Nigerian companies. We've seen quite a lot of activity as far as the startup space and entrepreneurs coming out of Nigeria. And really, and I think perhaps most strategically, we should take a look at what we've seen over the past few years. We've seen a bit of dominance from China and Russia in the region, especially if you look at what has been a bit of a retreat from France in some cases in some of these countries. And so perhaps this is a doubling down of the EU and seeing a way to at least position themselves strategically with some of these countries that are very important for not only their own national and the bloc zone interests, but potentially the interests of some of these states on the continent.